welcome to SAR Trail. I am Jeff, and in this video we want to do a review on the Rhino Batwing Awning. It's a 270-degree awning. First off, we really love this thing. We're going to show you the things we really love, and we're going to show you the things that we think could be better, or maybe there could be improvement, etc. This isn't going to be a review where we're going to set it up and put it back. There's a lot of those videos. I want to kind of give you a functional review of what this thing has been like for us to use in all different kinds of conditions. So first off, you can see behind me, we are at Padre Island, out on the beach in Texas, and between the past couple of days, the wind has been blowing between 30 and 40 miles an hour. First thing, when the wind is blowing really hard, don't set this thing up one person. I think it's a two-person thing. Natalie and I set it up together and we had no issues. But if it was just me setting it up, I think it would have blown everywhere. It probably would have been ripped and destroyed. But doing it two people, you're able, one person controls it, one person sets it up. So let's first look at kind of these, let's worry about the poles first. So cool thing about the poles, which I really love, these are buried in the sand, but I'm going to show you. You got two stakes that go through and they cross each other and they create really good strength in there. Now mind you, we're at the beach, so those straight stakes only do so much. In hard sand they do a great job, in hard soil they do a great job, but out here at the beach, if that's all we use, this thing would be ripped off last night, without question. So the Batwing, it comes off your vehicle and it folds out like this and wraps around. You want to start at your first pole, you're pulling tension. So your cables, you always want to pull them in succession, so they're always pulling off of that main point where it hooks up from your vehicle. You don't want to take this cable straight out, you want to pull it this way, kind of like a snail's shell. You're always pulling in that direction. Hopefully that makes sense. So first cable is really good, and what we did is we got these beach shovel style stakes, and they work great. The guy line fits right around it. Super easy tensioning on these things. Let me show you how it's done. You got your tensioner right here. Just hook it in, right like that. You want to go tighter? Just pull it right on up. Super, super easy. Next thing we're going to see, the second pole. You can see this guy line, it's not pointing that way, it's pointing this way in succession, still keeping that positive tension all the way around from that very far point right above the driver's door, in our case, above the passenger door if you have your tent, your awning mounted on the other side. Third pole, same thing. Still keeping that tension in that same positive direction, always bringing it around. If you pull your guy line straight out, not in pulling succession, you're going to have a floppy, loose canvas. It's going to look terrible. All the way back around to this one. Now in an ideal scenario, we would have this guy line right where this annex is. This annex in my rooftop tent, but we can't. So I kind of wrapped it a little bit. So you can see this one isn't as tight. It should be pulling straight this way. But we got the annex, so we couldn't do that. That's okay, not a big deal, because what Rhino gives you is a tensioner here. This is a buckle system tensioner that goes right up to your roof rack and it tensions your pole. That way it works great. If you have an annex or no space right there, you can keep your tension right there, right where you got it. Now let's go back over to the front again by the driver's door, and we're going to look at the other different guidelines that we have. Okay, back at the driver's door, and the first line you're going to see is a tensioner just on the canvas. No pole over here or anything. This is just to keep this tension just enough so it's not catching a lot of wind up and down. Don't worry about this white guy line over here. That's unrelated to the awning. That's just to help our rooftop tent windows stay in place until we figure out a better system than what we have right now for that. So first line here, tension's the same exact way. These I don't put nearly as tight. They don't have to be. If you put these too tight, they end up pulling this down too much, and you don't want that. So it's just enough to give it tension, just to keep it from flopping in the wind. Same thing you do over here. next panel has a guideline. You can see it's not tensioned that hard, just enough to keep it under control when the wind gusts is really hard. Third panel, fourth panel, same exact thing. Super, super easy to set up. Same thing, use the sand tent stakes. So the real key is getting up underneath here, and you have shade. All of the poles, this is a super cool feature with these. All of the poles, you get them to the height where you want on your vehicle, tighten them in that way, and you can clip them back up here. They fold and collapse right back up in here at whatever length you need them. You don't have to crimp them and put them all the way back down and reconfigure your height every time you set it up. So that saves you some time. They can go right back up in here. Here's your joint up here where all the swing arms attach. This is right off the back corner of the vehicle. I would say this is very good. It's not super strong in the point that you could ever deploy this without the poles. There's a couple awning companies, Alucab and 23-0. They have the legless awnings or single leg awning, etc. You know, this one you could never deploy without the legs, and honestly never deploy without the legs or even the stakes. The stakes that cross through the feet of those legs. If you're in a zero wind condition, you can do that. But we are not in a zero wind condition. This is really intense wind out here. But I'll tell you what, this thing like a champion has held up through wind, through rain, and you can deploy it really fast. We went to a grocery store on our way here, and we stopped and we're loading up the back end with groceries, and it started to dump rain. So we quick in 30 seconds deployed this awning really fast. Thankfully there was no wind, but we deployed it really fast just to give us some protection. Well, sorry, the tide's coming in. We're a little bit worried if we're going to be underwater here tonight. But we quick deployed that really fast, got protected, we're able to pack up our groceries and move on. Okay, so if you are looking for an awning that really has super fast setup time, and you don't mind spending a lot more money, then this might not be the right one for you, because this one does take some setup time, unless you're just going to be in a place with no wind and you just clip it to the back up there at the roof rack and drop in your cross stakes and then you're good. But where we camp, we're either in the mountains or at the beach or in the desert, it seems like there's always wind blowing. I don't know how to get away from it. We always end up in the wind. But if you're looking for a rock solid, proven performer, the Rhino Rack Batwing is a good way to go. We see these things all over the place. They've been at overland expos, overland rallies. We see them with people that have their overland rigs all over the place because it's a very good system. It's tried and true and it's proven. And that's what we like about it. The price point works really well for us. This same kind of version, there's companies that will have their racks for their awnings for half the price. And we've seen them. We almost bought one to save the money, but we've seen them and they weren't made well. They don't fit onto your truck well. You close them over and they got goofy loops hanging everywhere and Velcro all over the place. This thing is really seamless when you zip it down inside of that cover. The negative sides, I will tell you, there's always a gap right here at the back of the vehicle. There's always that one gap where it doesn't make it completely over. So that's always the case. You know, we could slide the mount, slide the whole awning forward a little bit and mitigate that a little bit more, but there's always that gap. The second thing is there is setup time involved, without question. And if it's a one-person deal and it's really windy, you're not gonna be able to set it up. There's just no way. It's not possible. If it's 30, 40 mile an hour wind like we set this thing up in the past couple days, you need two people. There's just no way one person can do it without this thing getting destroyed. I don't think. Maybe somebody that knows how to do it in a different way than what we've been doing. But if you're in a place that is super windy and this fits your price range and you don't mind a little bit of setup time to get it done really right, this thing can handle a ridiculous amount of wind. And we have seen that out here. Big gusts, way beyond that 40 mile an hour mark. And it handled it like it was absolutely nothing. It did not even care. So, those are big pluses. Some other pluses that we found out, if it's raining on you, these strings in the mid panels, you can tighten them down a little bit, and then they will draw your rain away from your inside your vehicle and draw it to a point right here, and it will drop it down right here. So you can control where your rain goes. Right now we're keeping it pretty flat, so if it were to rain now, we'd end up having pool up areas and then splash downs, pull up and splash downs, but we could just have a controlled trickle. We just tighten that up some. Another plus about this awning are the side panels that you can get. You can get, each section has a zippered area that you can put in, and you can enclose this whole thing with 1, 2, 3, 4 panels that you can enclose yourself in, protect from the wind, protect from the sun. That's a big plus. And coming out really soon is the bat tent. The bat tent is a tent, I think it goes in this section right here, in this triangular section. So starting at the front, you got 1, 2, 3 panels. In the third panel, there's a tent section that kind of goes in, hangs here, attached to the bottom, full zipped in. You can put in, I think, a queen size bed, or at least a full size bed in it. And that's going to be out here really soon. We've seen it out at one of the overland rallies. It just hasn't hit the market yet, but that's coming out soon too. And that's a plus too, because that way you can zip yourself in if there's mosquitoes, sand fleas, whatever you want to get away from. You can zip into that thing, or you can sleep out here in it like a normal tent. And then you have your shade and a tent as well. It's a really slick setup. So that's been our experience with the Rhino Rack Batwing. There's also the Batwing Compact if you have a Jeep Wrangler or a smaller than mid-sized vehicle, kind of a little smaller than our Hummer H3. You could use that as well. These things work on travel trailers. We just met a couple that was out here overlanding, and they had this same exact awning on their teardrop trailer. And they've been using it for years, and they love it. That's our opinion on the Batwing. You know, at some point in the future, we might upgrade to the legless type of systems. But for right now, this one has hit the spot for us. We are nothing but pleased with this. And we have seen it endure heavy winds in the mountains, heavy winds at the beach. And it is just nice to be in a shaded area pretty much all day long. You can move around and find a spot with the shade. So, thanks for checking out Sour Trail. Hope this has been useful for you. At some point, we might do a whole video on the deployment of this whole thing and the setup of it. If you'd like to see that, leave us a comment in the box below. Let us know, and then we'll go ahead and put one of those videos together too, because I know there's a bunch of them out there, but maybe our perspective could be helpful for you. A way to set it up, a two-person setup, a windy condition setup. Just let us know what you want to do, and we'll figure a way how to do it. Thanks a lot. I'm Sour Trail.